When it comes to bright ideas and innovation, the SPFL has often resembled Biff Tannen in Back to the Future, consulting his Grays Sports Almanac to see what had gone before. Take the top-tier promotion, relegation playoff for instance. Much heralded when announced in 2013, it was in reality no more than a reheating of what was served up in the mid-90s, and later this week, two more candidates go head-to-head in the Great Scottish Playoff. Whose Longridge has experienced the Premiership playoff from both sides, first as the hunter, then as the hunted, when trying to gain promotion in 2014 with Hamilton Axes, and then last year, when attempting to avoid the dreaded drop. For Longridge, who spent the past season on loan at Falkirk, those games against Hibs and Dundee United respectively may have been billed the same. However, he says both were impacted by very different circumstances. Because we were the championship side in 2014, we had no way of knowing what we'd be like against Hibs, a supposedly better team, he said. Would they be fitter, stronger, smarter, faster? We had nothing to lose, but we were caught a wee bit cold and lost 2-0 in the first leg. We didn't do much wrong, but we stood off Hibs at times. Afterwards, Alex Neil sat us down and showed us where we could get at Hibs on the Sunday at Easter Road. Even trailing 2-0, it was easier to handle. Simply, it was win or bust, and we won on penalties and got promoted. It was brilliant, but the Hibs players looked broken. 3 years on, Longridge would realize why. Against Dundee United in 2017, Axes were the Premiership team, but there was a real feeling that people wanted United promoted and couldn't care less about us. There was real pressure on the boys because we knew defeat would mean relegation, players being freed, and probably even redundancies within the club. Longridge's thoughts drifted back to those Hibs players and how they looked. That was a huge responsibility to take into a game, he said. The lead up to the game, you're trying not to think about what the consequences might be if you lost. That was just terrible. You were constantly anxious. But then you realize it was the same for both teams. After a 0-0 at Tannadice, the longer the second game went, the more the United players went into their shell. You knew one goal or something special would win it, and Greg Docherty came up with both, with a cracking goal from 25 yards. But despite his double success, Longridge would welcome a change of format. Hang the final, as a one-off game 11th in the Premiership versus the Championship runners-up, would be more suitable as a player. The TV companies and the clubs might not think so, but I think it would be much fairer, rather than Championship teams being disadvantaged by having to play more key games, when players are tired and fatigued mentally. Longridge has a vested interest in this season's playoff as well. Brother Jackson plays full-back for Livingston, who knocked Dundee United out in their championship eliminator. I went to the game on Monday at Tannadice to support Jackson. All I've said to him is that Livy have gone the same route as Axes and given themselves every chance. But I won't need to say too much. Livingston are a really tight-knit bunch, with a manager in David Hopkin who gets every last ounce out of his players. They have a huge prize to play for. Momentum is a key factor in these games. Livingston were on the front foot against Dundee United and carried it through. Not having to chase the game is a big part of these ties. If Livy win promotion, they have grafted for it. If they don't, it means another team has grafted harder. Somehow, I don't think the Premiership team is capable of that.